me show you something that'll blow your mind. Now let me show you something that'll blow your mind.
Great. So I'm just going to jump right into it. Welcome agents and brokers to this webinar. My name is Sandra Bezier, and I am the Canada Post Customer Success Manager that manages enterprise real estate accounts. I will present the power of direct mail, and our turnkey solution partner, One-to-One Mailing, will demonstrate how to book direct mailing using their PostNow tool. A preferred postage rate has been negotiated at the head office level with Century 21, and it will be applied when you use the PostNow tool for turnkey solutions. Quick question, are you recording, Nate, by any chance?
Yeah.
Oh, great, awesome. I will keep my presentation very short and just quickly give you an overview of the benefits of Canada Post direct mail in the next few slides, followed by a live demonstration on the PostNow tool presented by Nate Schick from One-to-One Mailing. So I'm not sure if you knew, but Canada Post is the only company who could reach 16 million addresses in Canada every day. We get your marketing message to your audience unlike any other company, so you could sell more and grow your business. And unlike any other medium, Canada Post has exclusive access to every condo and apartment building in Canada. We have access to 4 million households living in condos and apartments daily, and 85% of these units are located in major urban centers. Over 2 million households living in apartments and condos are located in Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver alone. So for agents who specialize in condo sales, don't miss out on this desirable and large demographic group that is reachable with Canada Post. So with Canada Post, you could rest assured that your items will be delivered professionally and that the integrity of your brand and message will not be compromised. Knowing the value of your advertising dollar is very important aspect to consider. We have been servicing Canada for over 250 years, and Canadians have confidence in our brand. So we only hire adult delivery carriers with standards for delivery and quality controls in place. We ensure that your message gets delivered directly into the mailbox, and we don't leave your investment exposed on the doorstep like some of our competition or other suppliers out there.
Do you want to dwell on that for a little bit, Sandra?
Sure.
Because I'm
Absolutely.
sure that there's always questions around this one in particular, I think, with real estate agents, in terms of somebody sent mail pieces and they didn't make it to a home. That's a pretty common, I think that a lot of us have heard. And whether or not any of you have experienced that or heard those stories, I think it's really important to talk about, like, the ability to get into apartments is so good. And even just having adults that deliver to, post boxes every day, it's like they have to go to the home already, and so there's 0 point to them dropping your particular flyer in the garbage but then still delivering everyone else's. And so it's there's oftentimes, I think, confusion in the industry that people have done mail or sent flyers and it all gets lumped into Canada Post. And like there's as like not Canada Post, like I'm not Canada Post, but their ability to actually deliver is a big standout reason to use them and not necessarily rely on like a flyer force or a door hanger or like a teenager walking around trying to put your flyers in a mailbox, right? It's like they might do it sometimes. It's just the reliability isn't there because they're not, their job isn't at risk for those type of things. So it's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, we have very strict standards for delivery, and we do have quality controls in place. I'm not sure if our competition or, as Nate mentioned, if you're hiring, a teenager to go door to door, how reliable are they? I mean, they're a teenager, they're not really risking their unionized job and great benefits with the government, right? So our agents are very reliable and dependable. And as I mentioned, we've been in business for over 250 years, so Canadians rely on us. Great. Any questions from the agents and brokers out there on the call here? Nope. Okay, great. So I'm going to move forward. So there are many, many challenges facing real estate agents today. I've listed only 5. I'm sure there's more. But we know there's increased competition, and that means competitions for clients in a fierce Canadian market. So our turnkey solution provider, One-to-One Mailing, they can create a targeted mailing plan for you with creative that stands out while leveraging your corporate discounted rate with their PostNow tool. Now, if you have your own creative already made, that's great. You could simply upload. They don't charge you anything extra for using their templates, and you have the ability to also edit, which Nate will show you afterwards. If you want them to create something from scratch, there might be a small cost associated, but again, Nate will speak to that in his demo. Number two, shifting demographics. I mean, we live in Canada. It's a very multicultural country. So with shifting demographics, it brings new expectations and needs. For instance, millennials spend more time researching, focusing more on neighborhoods and schools, and they value personal connections with their agents. Meanwhile, newcomers are interested in urban centers, and they're also making an impact, with 7 out of 10 buying a home within 5 years of landing in Canada. So that's pretty powerful. Disruption. Buyers and sellers have greater direct access to digital information, while online alternatives are fueling the do-it-yourself real estate transactions. Agents must also contend with the impact of new investment rules are having on their clients and the ongoing market volatility. For instance, interest rate hikes we experienced in 2022, stress test, foreign buyer regulations. And in Toronto, we have a vacant home tax. So I don't know if you guys do, but that just came out this year, and it means you have to pay an extra 1% of your property value yearly if your home is vacant for more than 6 months. Number four, with more marketing channels like digital and social to choose from, it's harder to keep up with the best ways to reach your potential clients and achieve the best return on your investment. And the fifth one, I'm sure you could all relate to, is performing multiple roles every day. You guys are agents. You operate in a time crunch, volatile environment where every dollar spent affects the bottom line. The solutions for acquiring and retaining clients need to cut through the daily clutter and work. So you want to save your time and money by booking your direct mail, and you could turn to one-to-one mailing. They could do it all for you from start to finish. Any questions on these 5 key challenges, or maybe there's one that's challenging you that you have a question and we're happy to answer for you? No? Okay. Nate, did you want to speak anything more to this slide, or?
No, I think we'll probably cover a couple other things as we build demos, but that's yeah, that's great.
Okay, great. So why is direct mail the preferred channel used by agents? Well, number one, it works. However, that's easier for me to say. So the next few slides will show you exactly what I mean. So how can direct mail boost your business? Well, if you want to get noticed, 88% of Canadians said they read direct mail. Top agents use it throughout the year to tell their story and keep their brand awareness strong. If you want to acquire new clients, well, 79% of Canadians save direct mail in their mailbox, while 34% of Canadians always or sometimes display advertising mail of interest to them in their homes. So direct mail helps you physically put your brand into your prospect's hand and into their homes, where decisions to buy or sell a home is typically made. And if you want to drive repeat business and referrals, well, 68% of Canadians say they're likely to share advertising received in their mailbox, and a single direct mail piece can live well beyond the day of delivery. When people receive a relevant item in the mail, they will keep it, display it, and even share it with others. So that makes direct mail an ideal channel for building repeat and referral business. So we included this slide as well because there's often a misconception that millennials don't really engage with direct mail. But as you can see from the slide, all generations have a positive response to direct mail. As you can see, half of millennials, Gen Xers, and boomers are excited to see what's in their physical mailbox, and over 40% of all generations keep promotional mail for future reference.
I always like that information. I think it speaks to like the change over time of us not getting bills in our mailbox anymore. As a millennial, I don't get bills, so the only thing that really shows up in my mailbox is things that are positive or neutral in nature. So there's never a worry about going to it. I check my mail every day. We still get it to our house. We're lucky. But you know, a lot of millennials are checking their mail like multiple times a week just to see what's in it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'm a Gen Xer. And I too check my mail every day. I live in a condo in Toronto, so I have a dog. I walk my dog every day and I pass by the mailbox, and I just love to see what's inside. I'll actually just sit in the mailroom for 5 minutes and read my mail while I'm there. I see we have a question. You just got to unmute yourself. Is that Brent? Brent.
Yeah. I was just curious to know if you have, I don't know if you'd be able to collect any sort of data on this, but any data on any mail that just doesn't get read, if it's just like left in the mailbox. You probably wouldn't be able to maybe find that out, but do you have any sort of data on, how many times people are actually opening their mailbox? I know that you said that
Sure.
people might do it a few times a week, but do you actually have any like physical data on that?
So we do. I have it in my talk track here. So lucky you and lucky me. So almost 73% of Canadians collect their mail at least 3 times a week, and 42% collect it 5 times a week. So that really reflects how compelling it is to Canadians, right?
Oh, thank you.
Okay, great. I'm happy that helped. So yeah, I'm always prepared for these questions. Okay, great. So moving forward, did you know that one-to-one mailing, or turnkey solution provider, could target using Canada Post data? We have over 3 billion data points available, from demographics, interests, and behaviors, life stages, and lifestyles to address attributes. So this is really key because, on your Century 21 portal, you do have a tool that enables you to book Canada Post neighborhood mail on your own. The only thing that tool is lacking is this free demographic data. You could only book at the FSA level, which is the first 3 digits of a postal code, or down to the root level. However, one-to-one mailing could incorporate our data, which is census data. If you want to, target upsizers or downsizers, you could simply put a age and demo filter in there, such as a household income and their age, if they have children. If you want to target and get listings, you definitely want to target people who own their property over renting. So these are a few things that Nate will go into more detail when he does his demo. So what are Canada Post Smart Mail marketing solutions? Well, we actually have 3 different solutions to choose from. However, the most popular one with agents is neighborhood mail, which is unaddressed because the reach is wide and you could target to many households in a given neighborhood. There are 2 solutions we offer. The other 2 are personalized mail, which is an addressed mail piece. So you would have the person's name and address on it, and it goes to 1 household. And the postal code targeting, which is also unaddressed. However, it's delivered to a few households at the postal code level. So typically there's about 20 homes in a postal code, and there's typically 500 homes in a route. I mean, there are some routes that have less than 500, but that's the average. And Nate and his team are able to book all 3 solutions. So if you want to explore something different than neighborhood mail, they're able to book it for you. The great thing for postal code targeting is we hear it all the time that agents just want to target 1 condo building, but if they're doing neighborhood mail, they've got to reach the 4 other buildings on the block that they have no interest in. Nate will show you how to target that 1 building with postal code targeting as well later in his demo, if that's of interest to you. So why do 95% of agents choose neighborhood mail? Well, as I mentioned, the reach is wide and you could target by FSA or at the root level, get all the homes or just some of the homes in a neighborhood. And you could build awareness and recognition. When you add direct mail to your digital campaigns, you drive 39% more attention, 10% higher brand recall, and 5% greater emotional response. And finally, you want to strengthen your trust. I mean, if you're trying to get a new client and you're going to sell their house, they're really going to have to trust you. It's probably, or if you want to get a new buyer, it's the biggest purchase of their life. So 50% of consumers feel more valued when brands contact them through mail. Buying and selling a home are the most important transactions of your clients' lives, and trust is critical. You could build trust by reinforcing your expertise and featuring your successes. So agents do this by sending direct mail items that showcase recent sales and satisfied clients. So it's great to always have testimonials if you worked with a client in the past, and also your recent sales to show that you are the preferred choice of agent in a particular neighborhood to sell homes. It's funny, I was going for a walk the other day, and in this neighborhood, I noticed there was about 5 homes that had the same landscaping company. And that's pretty powerful. So as an agent, you kind of want to do the same. You want to be that agent that neighborhood uses. But I know you have your for sale sign, but it's gone once you sell that home. But it's kind of the same idea. You really want to be the master in that neighborhood. And I'll be honest, word of mouth is the best advertising. But I would say the second best choice is direct mail. So and if you have digital as well, it all works together, right? You really have to look at a holistic approach to this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we always like to tell real estate agents and discuss with them that direct mail is one of the strongest channels to get people into a digital funnel. That's really, I think, like the goal, because so many people take action after they research you, but like, how do you get in front of them to begin with? And direct mail does it better than so many other tools. Like, I am digitally blind to ads, and I'll cover that in my presentation a little bit more.
And I mean, if you just Googled real estate agents around me, I'm sure you'll get so many, right? Like, how do you stand out when someone starts Googling? You know, if you're that piece of direct mail, they've already seen you, you're imprinted into their memory, it's physical, it's tactical, they could have saved you. And I mean, that might be the one thing that stands out from a Google search is that you entered their home before and no one else has. I mean, everyone could be found on Google, but not everyone could be found in your home. So I think that's pretty powerful as well. Oops, did I miss something? Okay, let's see here. Yes, best practices. Oh, Craig, you've got a question or a comment, and you're on mute.
Yes, I have a very good comment. I get mail from a realtor that I met well over 10 years ago. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law are selling their home, both $600,000 home. And this mail piece is unopened. I don't get around to opening every time he sends it to me per quarter, but he got a lead from me because he was top of mind. So it was like, they didn't have a realtor. We were talking one time at lunch. I said, well, I know somebody I trust, somebody I've referred to in the past. So even though it came in an envelope and I haven't opened it, I do get around to opening them. It stuck around, and it earned that realtor, a potential commission, because he kept top of mind. He didn't have to call me every 6 months, that type of thing. I do have him on probably on Facebook as well, but this works. And that's what I made a comment was mail is sticky. People remember it. It's more real than digital.
Craig, question with that. How often does he send you a piece? Once a quarter? How often do you get them?
I have to get once a quarter. Okay. Four times a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if an agent doing a campaign, just from a cost perspective, like how much does it cost him to maintain contact with you over 10 years, you think? $4 a year?
Well,
$5
not
a year?
much. He always puts a first class stamp on it.
Okay.
And I'd say under $10 a year for what he's sending to us.
Right, because it's a nice piece. He's doing some embellishments and putting some work into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's color piece, nice envelope. Yeah. And he might only have myself and 150 people on his list. Mm-hmm. So very, very reasonable.
That's a great story. And can you imagine the ROI? Like you said, $4 per year times 10 years. So what's that? $40?
Oh, I think you said under 10. So like, even if it was $100, like it's
even if it's $100,
yeah,
to get a new client.
Amazing.
I mean, if I was an agent, I would pay $100 to get even a lead to talk to someone who's remotely interested in buying a house, because the tough part is finding the people that actually are ready to buy, right? I mean, and from there, you've got to work your magic. You've got to work your sales skills, but it's finding those leads. How do you find the people that are in need of a home versus the ones that don't want to move? I mean, if someone doesn't, like my parents, they're never going to move. They're going to die in this house that they've been living in for the past 50 years. That's just the way they are. So there is no convincing, but you want to find those leads that want to move. Like, for instance, myself and my husband, we're upsizing and we have a need to move because we're running out of space in a condo. So really you have to strategize and first figure out the audience you want to reach. And then you have to figure out the message and then the frequency of how often you want to reach them. And these are all key points that Nate will also go over in his demo. Great. So just, I know we're kind of running short of time. I promised to keep this short, so I'm just kind of going to whip through the last 2 slides and then Nate will take it away. So, I just included 5 tips to ensure the success of your brand. Now, if you're using one-to-one mailing, they have already created templates. So you really don't have to worry about these tips because they have them in mind. But if you've already created something or you want to create it yourself or whatever platform you're using, that's fine. You just want to consider sending simple and useful items that have a long shelf life in the home. If you want to get creative, you could even do calendars, notepads, magnets, and pens above and beyond your traditional postcard. Physical newsletters are also a great way to advertise your expertise, which builds trust and credibility. I love the physical newsletter. I get one every month from a realtor who specializes in condo sales. And again, probably over 10 years. And I read it because I want to know the value of my condo in this volatile market. And if I was to sell, I would probably call her first because she's kept in touch with me and she knows the market. Number 3, if you offer services like professional staging or home inspection, it's a great idea to feature these added values in your direct mail piece. So you become the one-stop shop for buyers and sellers. That's what people want. They don't want to reach out to 3, 4 different people. And that's kind of how one-to-one mailing works too. You don't have to go to a print shop. You don't have to go to the post office. You don't have to go to Vistaprint or wherever you go to create it or Canva. You go to one place and they do it all and you get one invoice, which is very convenient at tax time. And then you also want to use a direct mail piece to build your personal brand by letting your community know if you sponsor teams or participate in neighborhood events. This is a great way to network. I mean, you know, even if you're at a sporting event, let's say for your kid, talk to the other parents, let them know, and just let them know you're an agent, and maybe when they're ready to buy and sell, they'll probably use you. And number 5, the most important thing is always to know your audience and your neighborhood. So local knowledge could give you ideas on how to connect, when to connect, and the messaging you want to use to connect. So those are just some tips. And these are just examples of 2 templates. Nate and his team have, I believe, a huge library. I don't know exactly how many, but there's got to be at least 100 in there. So the one on the left is a typical postcard, and the one on the right is a newsletter, and everything is customizable. So again, Nate will show you that in his demo. And finally, one-to-one mailing is a Canada Post expert partner. To get this accreditation from Canada Post, you really need to know your stuff. And they've been in business for over 20 years, and they were our partner of the year as well. So we trust them, and that's why we're introducing them to you, because they do a great job. You could select from your existing template or upload your own design. There's also custom options available. You could securely upload your customer data and build a custom target audience, or they could do it for you. You could simplify your campaign with one payment for print and postage, and your campaign is printed, prepped, and sent to Canada Post on time. So these are some of the value props of using a turnkey solution provider. And finally, what can one-to-one mailing do today with Canada Post data? As I mentioned, if you want to target upsizers, downsizers, you could target by geography and demographics, and you could also target by addresses. So if you already have an established list of clients that you're working with, you could send out a direct mail piece to them, which is personalized mail. I won't go through all these examples because we are running short on time. But for instance, if you want to target downsizers, many older Canadians experience changing living needs, and this includes empty nesters and snowbirds transitioning to single-level housing and condos, or leaving the home ownership market entirely after retirement. So if you want to target downsizers, you would choose a demo, let's say 50 plus or 60 plus, and a household income, let's say of maybe 60K plus. When you're retired, you're not really making a lot of income unless you have really good investments. And the building occupancy own. It's really key to own a home if you're looking to sell it. So Nate will take you through these other examples in his demo. And finally, the fun part begins. Take it away, Nate.
All right, you guys can all see my screen. Get a confirmation on that before I keep going. All right, guys, so Craig and I are from PostNow. PostNow is our online direct mail tool, and it's built for real estate agents. It's what we started building many years ago was for real estate, and it's continued to evolve to offer a lot of value to real estate agents. So I'm going to run through a really quick presentation, and then I want to get into some demos. And I really just want to cover some points about direct mail from the production side. So from that print and that design and that targeting side of things. So our big goal is that we're going to do all the heavy lifting for you. You know, direct mail doesn't need to be complicated, and at PostNow we just make it easy for you to do. So that's one of our big features, and that comes along with concierge level service. That means that, you know, when you need help with your campaign order, we're there to help you. That we're going to make sure that your audience matches your goals, and that the mail piece that you're sending out is going to meet quality standards and is printed properly on high quality paper. That, you know, if there's a design error or a spelling mistake, we catch those for you. We try not to send out pieces that aren't going to do well, and we encourage you to do campaigns that are actually going to succeed. And Sandra brought up a bunch of best practices. That's really what we're focused on too when we work with you, is how can we encourage best practices so that you actually see value out of direct mail and you don't just walk away going, well, that was a waste of money. Because like at the end of the day, it's I'm a small business owner, and just like all of you, it's like money has to go towards places where it's going to drive an impact. And that means that like I want to work with partners in my own business that can give me real information about the best way to execute some form of a marketing strategy or a business plan. And so that's really what we're going to do and our team does for you. So that all comes with really good pricing. Because we built this online system and because it helps us manage our campaigns and helps you manage our campaigns, we pass those savings off to you guys. So that makes it really nice. So I have no idea what that was. Let's pop on here. And so Sandra already talked about these, just ways that direct mail adds value to you and your direct mail business. I think the big one is creating that personal brand. It's like there's nothing that you can sell other than yourself. And so being able to highlight your reputation, the homes that you've sold, the places that you know, the standout knowledge that you know about a neighborhood, all of that helps you create that personal brand so that when somebody thinks they need a real estate agent or a friend does, it's like they know who to talk to. They know who to reach out to, just like Craig mentioned with that envelope. So I think it's time to get into a demo. And we're going to really talk about repetition and frequency in the demo. Digital ads, I think the latest research is that we see like 6,000 to 10,000 brand messages a day. And that's a ton. And so most of those are digital on screens, and we just have stopped paying attention to them. The banner ads, the Facebook ads, they may not hit us at the right time. And I think that's really where direct mail stands out, and the importance of direct mail frequency really comes up. Being able to get something into someone's hands has so much more value. It's why an open house prints off sell sheets and you don't just let someone walk around. It's like you want to get something into their hand that's tactile, that sits on their counter, that gets looked at multiple times. And so an impression, that digital ad impression versus the impression of a direct mail piece, they're very different things. And because direct mail has so much trust associated with it, and I think what we mean by that is, inherently, we trust brands and companies that send a direct mail piece more than we're going to trust a Facebook ad. It's like anybody can advertise on Facebook to anywhere in the world, but like I feel as a consumer, I don't know how direct mail works. I just know that, if you're sending direct mail, you're a legit business, you're trying to do something, you're standing out. And so there's just higher trust with it. And I think one more key point is that most companies and businesses and realtors that use direct mail, they don't really see how much it generates on an ROI level until you've sent at least 5 campaigns to an audience. That repetition matters, and that's really where we start to see the lead generation really take off, is after that fourth to fifth piece. It's not that you don't get leads the first couple, but it's you're trying to time somebody looking for a home, and so hitting an audience multiple times, it's more likely that you hit them when they need that message. And so that repetition really, really does drive quality lead generation, which I think is what we're all about. So let's just jump into some demos, and I'll talk about targeting, offers, and design as we go here. So I'm going to escape out of this, come back to that later. So I'm already logged in to a realtor demo here, and I'm set up on the Century 21 account. So there's a few things in here that I just want to show. Once you log in, you can build a campaign, build an audience, use our campaign budget calculator, which I'm going to show you first. I think that's one of our best tools, just to quickly plan out your campaign. It's complex to figure out how much print is going to cost. I'm sure you've all gone to Vistaprint, tried to see how much postcards are going to print, and it's like 20 steps to even get to the cart to determine what that final price is. That's a waste of time, and we're not into that. So if you go to the campaign budget calculator, you can either enter a quantity to determine how much a campaign is going to cost, or you can switch over and enter a budget and see how many pieces you can send for that budget. And so this is a really, really smart calculator, even with only one field. And so to start, like if I've got $1,000 budget, I can scroll down here and I can see that if I was doing personalized mail, so addressed, I could send, 1,000 postcards for that $1,000. If I'm doing neighborhood mail, which is the unaddressed, which is what we're going to focus on today, I can send out 2,700 postcards for that $1,000. And that's my postage and my print and my design and all of my mail prep all in one. So same thing, if I go back up here, I can filter down to just looking at neighborhood mail. As I go up in how much I want to spend, my print rate and my campaign rate goes down pretty drastically. And so if I bump up to 1,500, I'm down, a few cents on my campaign rate, and I can send to almost double the people here. And so it's a nice way to see how much can my budget get me, or if I'm like, how much is it going to cost to send to 1,000 people based on different campaign types, large postcards, standard postcards, or letters. It's like you can see how much it's going to cost really quick. So nice, quick. There's also a design mail library, like was mentioned here. We've got a bunch of Century 1 templates in here, as well as a bunch of generic real estate ones that you can choose from as well. These ones, we customize the images and the content for you, and those changes are included in the campaign cost. If you already have a design print file ready to go, you can upload those as well, which we'll talk about. And then finally is our audience manager. And the audience manager lets you build your audiences and save them for future use. So you don't have to worry about trying to remember where you mailed last time. It's easy to put things together. And I think let's build a new audience so you can see this. You can build a new audience without building a campaign. And so you can kind of get some stuff prepped up and kind of plan it out and see what you're going to work with here. So we're just going to do a upsizers demo. So I'm going to talk about this audience because I think this will give context to the demo that we're going to do here. So we're going to build this neighborhood mail, and I'm going to target I'm targeting a pretty large area, so I'm going to target 3,000 households. And I'm going to show you on a map like what my intent here is from a real estate campaign. And so I know Edmonton well, so it's what I'm going to focus on. You can kind of leverage this with your own communities that you know. And so this area, Collingwood North and Westridge, I want to talk about these two areas separated by this 170th Street. I'll zoom out a little. Here we go. So on my Collingwood side, I have high density, I would call it medium to low income housing all throughout here. It's a lot of those new immigrants, regular young families. There's lots of schools in the area. There's lots of shopping in the area. It's an okay area, but people want to move out of this into something nicer. And so that upsizer audience is full of this Collingwood area. And where do these people want to move? They want to move over to like Westridge and Olescu. It's like this street separates two totally different communities, where this is, a little bit older, 70s and 80s, and really nice homes, nice walking trails. It's a desirable area to live. And so people from Collingwood are going to want to move to Westridge. And so while I'm going to do a upsizer campaign, where my focus would be trying to get people from Collingwood to look at the houses I have for sale in Westridge or something along those, I would also do a downsizers campaign to go along with this and say, I also want to target Westridge and find people that are moving here, that because they are aged out, they're ready to sell their home. And there's tons of those people in this area. It's one of those things I just know. So this information is more like me knowing it, because it's just like you guys. No one knows your communities like you do. And so you understanding what you can do with Canada Post and understanding how to leverage these things, that's our goal, is to say what do you know about your communities and how can we help you reach your goals? And so in this case, my goal is to get people from Collingwood to move to Westridge and people from Westridge to sell their homes. So I've got two campaigns that I would do here, two separate pieces and two separate audiences. But I'm going to go back to my audience builder. So as mentioned, we're going to go with this. We're going to do an upsizer audience. And so here's how you build an audience. You hit the add entry button. I'm going to allow it to find me. And there's a little instruction set here of how to use this little mapping tool. It's really straightforward. There are really complex mapping tools out there. We wanted this to be as simple as possible. And so what we did instead is we stripped out all of the complex stuff and we just gave you the basic stuff to make this easy. So I'm going to use my polygon tool, and I'm going to outline this area that I want to include in my mailing. And it's not a circle shape, although I could draw a circle, but these are the areas that I am interested in targeting for this upsizers one. And so there's my audience. If I didn't like that, I could use a circle and just kind of draw my circle to the area that I want. And I can move this around, resize this to just make it easy to find the right one. But ultimately, we're going to do that little polygon shape again. And you don't have to be super accurate. You're just sharing information with us is the goal here. So once I've outlined the map area, I can go down and set some demographic filters, because I may only be looking to hit 3,000 households, but the area I outlined might have like 10,000 homes in it. So I want to know the best neighborhoods to reach that gets me that 3,000 homes. And that's the work that we're going to do on our end once you tell us what you're looking for. So I am looking for predominantly renters. I'm looking for an income range that can afford to live over in the areas that I've probably got homes for sale in. And so I'm going to go with a little bit of a mid to high income range. And I'm looking for families. And so I'm going to go family structure. And we're going to pick children at home, married couple families. That's what I'm looking for predominantly. Oh, and I forgot to choose which dwellings I want to target. In this case, I'm interested in apartments and houses. I've no interest in hitting businesses and none in farms. And so this takes them all out if they were in that audience or that neighborhood, so you can avoid targeting them. I could also just say, you know what, I don't even want houses, I just want apartments. And that can really cut down, so you're just hitting those places that are really hard to hit, that a lot of people aren't hitting because of the difficulty to get into the mailbox without using Canada Post. Okay, so my audience is built. I can put a little content. So this is an upsellers audience, and then I'm going to add this entry. Once I add this, I just got to save the whole piece here. I get an example costing of what this campaign is going to cost me, but I'm just going to pop down here and save this audience. We're going to use this when we build a campaign, which we're going to do next. Just going to wait for this to save. All right, and let's move over to this. Okay, so here's the direct mail campaign builder. And I'm just going to give this a quick refresh. We're going to build that neighborhood mail campaign. And you can get to this from the dashboard, build a campaign. Or once you're logged in, under the direct mail tab, this create direct mail campaign will show up as well. So I'll just pop back to my tab. I'm really bad at typing and talking at the same time, so I'll try not to. We're doing a neighborhood mail campaign today. And everyone's aware of the difference between neighborhood mail and personalized mail. I know Sandra covered it, but the average neighborhood mail campaign goes to all of the people in a neighborhood walk. So all of the houses that a postman delivers to in a day. That's what a neighborhood walk is. And you choose those based on the match rate to your chosen demographics. And so the more complex your demographics, of course, the lower the match rate's going to be. And so it's really just picking which of the neighborhoods are closest matched to you. And that way you can target these clusters of 300 to 500 homes at a time is kind of the most typical sizes for a neighborhood mail audience. You choose your induction date next. And so this is the date that we can get your campaign into Canada Post. It's typically about a 5-day production window for us from the time you order to us getting it delivered to Canada Post. Because we're in Alberta, and I'll cover this again later, but we don't have PST here. And if we print in Alberta and induct in Alberta, so send it to Canada Post in Alberta for delivery to anywhere in the country, you end up not having to pay anything except for GST, which saves you a little bit extra off of the HST or PST that you might have. So I'm going to pick a date a couple weeks in advance here. And if I didn't have an audience built, I would use this build a new neighborhood mail audience, but I just built one. So we're going to go use one of our existing audiences, and we're going to find that where did it go? Upsizer demo, Century 21. So there's my audience there. and it fills in my quantity automatically. I can't edit it, so it's all locked for you, and you can just continue on the campaign. If you did go the other route and you were on the page trying to figure out how much can I send for my budget, we did build the budget calculator into here, and so you can pop it open, type in a quantity, and plan how many pieces you're going to send out. This is more for, as mentioned, when you select the build a new neighborhood mail custom audience. So we're not using that, but we talked about repeating, and I think this is a really important thing to dwell on. Repetition, so sending to the same neighborhood multiple times. A good frequency range is every 3 to 6 weeks is what you should be reaching out to if you're trying to really farm a neighborhood. It's different if you're sending to your existing customers. Once a quarter is awesome. That's a great rate. But if you're trying to farm a neighborhood and become the dominant real estate agent in that area, every 3 to 6 weeks, you really want to be touching base with those people so you are front of mind since they don't know you personally. So that seems like a lot though. And so what we've built is a way for you to save money with this. And so you can pre-print up to 4 campaigns at a time. And so if I change this to 4, and I can choose my delivery option in here. So I could set, a monthly delivery schedule, or I can choose a custom one if I'd like. And then what you get is you get the print rate of printing all of your pieces at once versus having to print 3,000 and then 3,000 and then 3,000 and then 3,000. And in this case, my rate goes from like 22 cents to 14 cents a piece. And so I end up saving like $1,700 versus if I just did this individually once at a time. And so we would rather you save money and actually do direct mail properly. And so these tools are built in to make this a little bit easier for you to do that and to still save. So I'm going to go to mail to all households one time just to keep this simple. And we'll pick a postcard today. So once I've chosen my delivery options, I get to choose my design. And you can choose the various options that are available. It's just processing because it's going to load up a bunch of templates. And once I finish that, I can scroll down and see I've got a bunch of templates that I can pick from here that match all of the options that I've already picked. So these templates match your campaign. If I wanted to upload a design, I could. I just upload my files here. We like print-ready PDFs or your actual design files so we can tweak things. And if you do want custom designs, let us know. We have a full premium consulting package for direct mail where we help you with your strategy. We design custom pieces. We review audiences. It's a whole process. That's something that we can talk to you about when you reach out to us. But for today, let's go with the template gallery. And we'll pick one of these Century 21s. And we just implemented this. So this is a nice feature. You can now blow these up. And not only can you blow them up, but you can actually see a little description of the postcard, and it's in a little bit of a little slideshow so you can see the front side and the back side and scan between these for that piece. So you can really drill in and see what this piece could look like. So that's nice. And so we're going to pick that one for now. We'll scroll down, add any final notes. Demo campaign with Century 21. I'm going to agree to the terms, and then I'm going to generate this campaign.
Nate, Brett did have a question. His hand went back down, but
I missed that.
Yeah, I just had a question about the scheduling and the templates that you can use. Is it possible to schedule, like if you wanted a monthly thing, can you schedule a different template to go out each of those times, or does it need to all be the same template?
Yeah, it's a good question. The challenge with we can do multiple templates if we know what they are at time of print. And so we can do 4 different versions for you when we print them all. But the challenge is if you're doing like a newsletter, oftentimes you don't know what the content is going to be until the next month, right? And so that's one where pre-printing doesn't help because you have to print all campaigns at once. So there are situations where that does work, but then there's just limitations of like, obviously we don't know the future, so we can't. If you were doing that newsletter style, you can't. A lot of guys, what they'll do when they're doing like a stage set of postcards is they'll just make a couple variation changes where one might be talking about selling your home, one might be talking about moving out of the area, and so they've got like 4 kind of key messages, and they can just kind of keep those messages on repeat as they go. And so they can still print batches of postcards that are relevant. And then what they do is they'll use QR codes or a really good landing page link that's simple, but I prefer QR codes nowadays. It's just easy. And you use your digital channels because they're easy to change and stay up to date. And then it's way less work in a lot of people's cases on their landing pages to keep their landing pages up to date with proper content versus trying to do new print designs, right? Like print design is really expensive to do because it's like there's no room for error. And errors mean bad print, means reprint, versus like digital, it's like it's easy for me to go in and adjust stats or put that information in and put my funnel form on there and drive them into a CRM if I've got that. Like that's the goal with your direct mail when you're doing that multi-drop strategy, is like messages that are easy, simple to print, but yes, they can be customized.
Yeah, you made some really good points there. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, so I'm just going to check out because I want to get into the proofing part of this. So if you've used a credit card in the past, it'll be in here for you so that you can save it so it's quick to check out. Make sure your information's all right so you can process out. I'm just going to place this order quick. And this will create a new project in our proofing portal, which lets you request the changes to the template. You don't have to do the changes to the template. You don't do the edits. You just tell us what you want done. And I think like that's the big difference between a lot of these other online tools where like you're expected to do all the work. And you're like, I'm not a designer. I'm a real estate agent. And that little, all those tweaks between typography and do the images fit and like spacing, like you want a designer to do all that work for you so it just looks nice. They do it faster. They keep it looking sharp for you, and then you get to do the things that you want to do. So I've paid. There's a little link here that says click here to add comments, and that's going to open up my proofing portal. And so this is just take a few seconds to open up here. So all of your projects with us are in here for forever. And so you can reference your old campaigns at any time. And so here's this one that we just ordered, right? Our campaign. And I'm going to open it up and hit the view button. All right, so here's that template that I picked, and I can use the arrows to scroll through the various sides of this. I'm going to shrink this up just a little bit. And all I need to do if I want to change things is I'm going to click, leave a comment. If I need to attach an image, I can attach images right from my computer. Who knows what I'm going to end up uploading here. This all goes right to our design team for them to know where you've clicked and what you've potentially uploaded or requested to be changed. And so that means that you don't have to send us emails. You don't have to do anything. If you want to add new people to the project, there's that ability as well. You just let us know and we can add additional team members to this so that they can also see your projects and add their own comments on this. On the back side here, you might have all of this information in a cell sheet already. And so you're like, please reference cell sheet for proper info to fill in here. And then you're just going to attach that cell sheet, right? Find it from your computer, attach it, send it over to us, and we'll take care of it from there for you. So that goal of like, we don't want you to have to nitpicky fill it all out. I don't need to know what your address is. We already have it in the system because you put it into the billing information. We'll put that there if we need to. If you want it to be a different address, let us know. And so once you've done all of your changes, you just get out of the system and you will get notified when a new version is uploaded. You pop back in, you can approve it right from here. So you use the approve option. And once it's approved, it goes to our print department. We print it, we prep it, we get it to Canada Post, and it's delivered to homes faster than you've probably experienced in the past. So that 5-day window is awesome. We find that that's probably the fastest in the industry right now from a consistent standpoint. So that's pretty much the demo, guys. Like I can dig into specifics around how to build some of these campaigns, but I think the best thing to do is, if you haven't already made an account, pop over to postnow.ca/C21. That'll take you to the registration page. You can register for an account. We'll approve your status as a Century 21 agent, and then we'll assign that postage rate that you get. You'll get all those Century 21 templates available to you as well. And from there, you just place your orders, talk to us on the chat tool that's on the site here. There's live chat. You can pick up the phone and call us. We're here to get that campaign ordered for, to make it as simple as possible, to get this campaign out for you. Obviously, the more you use this, the easier it gets. We like to say it's easy to use, but I think it's because we play in it every day. For the most part, though, this has really just taken away all the guesswork. You know, you don't have to worry about sizes. We've got it all figured out for you. You don't have to worry about, you know, are things done right? It's just done. So I'm going to pull up maybe one more slide here while we...
I think we have a question,
Yeah.
Nate, from Jesse Bennett Wilson. You're just on mute, so go ahead, Jesse. Oh, you're on mute.
There we go. I thought I took it off of mute. So for newer agents that don't have like a lot of sales or, you know, content, do you guys have like some sort of standard thing that you just put on for them just to kind of get out there? Is there something that you have for that?
Yes.
Good question.
Yeah. I was going to see if Craig was going to take this one.
Yeah. I can take it. Sorry, I was the same as Jesse. I was trying to get my mic off mute. Yes, Jesse. So we have lots of templates, and some of the templates will have standard standard information, whether it's a just listed, just sold. But when you're talking to one of our customer service reps, that's all you have to share. You know, I was just saying, you know, hey, I'm new. You know, this is a strategy that I'd like to follow. You know, or I've heard of type thing, and we're in marketing. So if you think about that from a real estate point of view, you're marketing yourself, and you're probably going to look and say, who in my industry do I admire, or what practices do I like that are best followed? So we can share that information with you, but you can also share that back with us and saying, you know, I really like, these are the pieces that I've been attracted to, or the marketing I've been attracted to out there. And we can help create that for you.
Yeah. I think as a new agent, I was gonna say, as a new agent, you're always looking for buyers, right? Like that's usually the best approach, because you're not going to get people that want to sell their home with a new agent typically. So it's some of that key messaging usually is like, I'm an expert in your neighborhood and understanding your neighborhood, because that's that play that says like, well, if you're an expert in my neighborhood, then you understand that extra value that my neighborhood has that a home appraisal just doesn't catch. You know, the special walking paths, or like just the nice neighbors. It's like you can talk to people a little bit better there. And that same thing is, or that other one is like, I've got people looking to sell or buy in your area. It doesn't matter if you do or not, you're looking for people that want to sell. And so it's like, how do you present yourself in that way? You can do it that way. You can also just present market stats, which is an interesting way to do. If you do go market stats, you really have to leverage your expertise within that though. Because I think just sharing market stats gets pretty stale. If they're not presented really, really well, or there's no like, I want to say like flavor commentary to them. That's a nice way to go to.
One thing that a lot of people forget in promoting themselves is a testimonial from a customer. You know, and it brings so much value to someone like myself. I forgot to mention actually earlier, and I'll throw this in. I don't do the mailing for this guy, you know, for Will. I've never actually asked him for his business, so it's not like he was a customer of mine and was top of mind. But as a realtor, like the testimonials that I heard people give about him made it so, okay, I'm going to refer him to people. And that's the same thing, you know, as a new realtor. As soon as you get rolling type thing, make sure that you reach out to the people that you've helped and put that on there. We trust that. You know, when I say we, consumers trust we trust testimonials from other people, especially when they look and act like us. You know, if it's someone in my neighborhood that you sold a home for and they praise you, well, that's already you're in a positive state of mind, you know, for me. So, yeah. Sandra has a question.
Sure. Well, I actually have a comment. So for new agents, and Jesse, are you a new agent?
I have my license for 2 years, but I don't have a lot of business. So
Okay.
I kind of think of myself sort of as a new agent.
Perfect. And that's kind of our definition of a new agent as well. We kind of determine it's between 2 and 3 years because you're building that book of business. Doesn't mean you just came out of school. And like any business, it takes time. You're probably going to have to invest more in the beginning, and then you'll see the returns of all the seeds that you're planting now, and then your fruits will blossom. So what we're doing as well, I'm not sure when you registered if you added your home or business address, but Nate and Craig are able to send a welcome kit if there are new agents out there. And what we mean by new, again, is like 2 to 3 years, trying to still build yourself in the marketplace. Maybe you haven't used direct mail before, or maybe even if you've used it like a decade ago, if you want to see the look and feel of their product, because we're talking about physicality, they're able to send you a welcome kit in the mail as well. So yeah, and if you haven't added your name and address, then you've got the program manager and Joey as well from sales. You could just send them your physical address and they could send you a welcome kit. Maybe Nate and Craig, you want to speak a little more to the welcome kits that we have to offer for new agents and what's in them?
Yeah, you bet. So the welcome kit it gives you a little bit of a recap of what we talked about today, some of how direct mail works for realtors, how people interact with their mail. But we also provide hard samples of what we do. People want to be able to feel and say, is this what I'm going to be represented when I send it out to 2,000 people or my list of 150 contacts? You want to make sure that the colors look good, the quality is there. And we're not fooling people by saying like we don't use a special paper, like a high quality, super gloss, all that. What you're going to get from us is a good quality piece. You're not going to look at it and say, it looks cheap in the mail. We do not recommend doing 4x6 single-sided postcards. We don't recommend anything single-sided. We do a 5.5 by 8.5 is that is the most common piece that we do. It stands out enough in your mailbox, when it's been received. You can do a 6x12, even larger, but do not do anything smaller than that, just to save a little bit of money on print. It is too small. It's going to be lost, within the other pieces. You want the people, when they see it at their community mailbox, or if they're getting home delivery still, to be able to pull that out because it's nicely colored. They're going to look at it and they're going to make a decision. Am I going to read this piece? Am I going to go on to the next piece I've received? But they're going to notice it. And that's the biggest thing with direct mail. You want people to notice the piece in their mailbox.
Great. So I see we're at time 2:01. We've taken an hour out of your day today. So if you do have any more questions, feel free to reach out to us. You have my email, you have Nate's and Craig's as well. And I encourage you all to, scan the QR code that was in this presentation, sign up for PostNow, and you could talk to a live customer service rep. They could walk you through your first order. And then once you become a pro, you could probably book it in less than 5 minutes yourself in the future. It really is a quick tool that will save you time and money.
Thanks, everybody. It was great having
Yeah.
you. So reach out if you have any questions. We'd love to chat more.
Thanks again for joining us.